I want to talk today what is meant for you, your authentic abundance. The timeline is meant for you and why you should not keep what is not meant for you. I haven't gone live in ages, and I just thought it would be so fun to go live today and to have this conversation with you. So if you are watching this on live or you're watching this on the replay, come and say hi. Pop in replay, let me know that you are watching this. And I'm excited to dive into today's conversation, which, funnily enough, was guided by my body. So, ironically, what we're going to talk about today is around how you can use your body and your body truth to call in what is meant for you, to understand what is not meant for you, what you need to let go of, what needs to purge out and purge through. It comes back to the body. And ironically, I was going to record a podcast today, and this is going to become a podcast. So hello to all the podcast listeners. My body said, time to do a live today, time to connect with the community on live today and have more of a conversation about this. So let me know if you are noticing this year that it is becoming even more important to align to what's meant for you and to let go of what isn't meant for you. Pop a 111 in comments if this is something that you are seeing or something that you have seen in your reality, that anything that is not in alignment is being shown. And we started to see this happen last year, right? 2025 was the year of the start of this outing. Anything not authentic, anything not aligned, anything that's, underpinned by anything that isn't ethical, that isn't pure, that isn't true, will rise to the surface to be purged out. So it is happening and it is being shown to you. So pop a 111 in comments if this is something that you are seeing happen at the moment. So we are very clearly being shown. The frequency of the planet is increasing. We are getting these amazing solar codes coming in from the sun. We are in solar maximus. Did anyone see that orb? We are in solar maximus. And so we are getting this amazing incoming light. And that light is purging out anything that is not in alignment. And we can even see this literally with the heat wave that we had in the UK last week. Let me know if you're in the UK and you had insane temperatures last week, right? We had up to 37 here, and our houses are not built for that extreme heat. None of us have aircon. I'm seeing loads of my friends from across the pond in the US and Canada saying I cannot believe that you have these insane temperatures and aircon is not a thing everywhere. Okay. So this is a real human example of what's happening in energy. So last week I did not sleep particularly well. I had a lot of emotions come to the surface. And what I noticed last week was anything that I had not dealt with was really coming into my awareness in that place of the heat waves. It's literally the heat wave, the solar codes, right? The heat was coming in. And then what I always find, and what I want to say to you, because I was also quite hormonal last week as well. And I had this conversation with the ladies in the membership as well, in that when we, no matter what the thing, right? Whether it's autism, ADHD, our hormones, literally lack of sleep and exhaustion from the heat that we had, anything that is going on for you, anything that is creating any type of stimulation for you in any way, okay? Anything, this will be amplifying something that is already there, okay? So we can use these opportunities to say, like, what is this showing me? It might just be, there were some things last week when it was like, this is literally showing me that I might need to get aircon. That is it. Like, I feel shit when I don't sleep. Like, this literally might be it, right? Or it's like, what is this kind of sensory thing? Like, what is it showing me? What else is bothering me around this time, right? And I know I'm out of alignment because I start to like nitpick, like the smallest things. I'm not a really detail orientated person, but I have certain sensory things. So I will start to like nitpick on something like I don't know, something in the fridge isn't right, a lid hasn't been put back on, or like the slightest thing. And this is how I know that things can be out of alignment. So we're really in this phase of alignment, and check out this froth, by the way, on my coffee for those who are watching live and on the video. I think I did really well on my milk frother today. So anything that is not in alignment for you, anything that is not in alignment with like where you're supposed to be, you will be shown. And I've heard this being talked about in these kind of 3 stages of awareness that we can have, which is the feather, the brick, and the dump truck, right? If we don't listen to the feather, which is those small nudges of something being out of alignment, if we don't listen, we'll be forced to listen. So next will come the brick. Okay, so we don't hear the intuitive nudges, then the bigger thing comes. The, God, the universe, source starts to intervene, right? And if we don't listen at the point of the brick, then comes the dump truck. Let me know in comments, have you had this experience where you've had these lessons around you didn't listen to the small nudge? You knew something was off, but you didn't know why it was off, right? And you maybe even wanted, like, that nudge for you wasn't enough. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, being over the scientist, having a background in positive psychology, studying neuroscience, like my whole background, my whole corporate career has been about psychology, neuroscience, evidence, right? So for a very long time, I needed that evidence. And I would wait out those gut feelings and be like, okay, what is this showing me? What does that actually mean? What does this logically mean for my life? And this, being brutally honest, is where I screwed myself over. Waiting for the logic will screw you over. And if you're like me and you're ever the scientist and you want to know, and I've even done a research study, right, which I got statistical significance on, I like to know how things work. I like to know that things can be proven by science and that they can work. But what I want to say to you is your gut response is happening before any of that. Before any of that, because that process is slow. That process is slow. Even as we look at things we have in the world right now and the research that it has taken and the evidence it has taken to get those things there, right? I'm going to give you a fine example of this. So when I first started my business in 2016, I was a mindfulness teacher. That was all I did in the beginning. I taught mindfulness courses, and mindfulness was a huge buzzword. And I traveled around the UK teaching mindfulness to over 1,000 people. It was a huge buzzword. When we go back to the origins of mindfulness, it came from researchers like John Kabat-Zinn, who was like the grandfather of mindfulness, who went and studied monks in the 70s and decided to bring that research into Western medicine. So it took, and this is one of the most potent examples of this that I know, it took all that time, over 30 years, in fact 40, maybe even 50 years. I'm trying to do the maths in my head. Maths is not my strong suit. It took over 40 years for this stuff for people to wake up and pay attention to that research. So you're not going to wait, like, let's be realistic. You're not going to wait 40 years or however long it takes for the mind, for the logic, to the science to catch up. I mean, things are much quicker nowadays, right? We have quantum physicists, we have the double slit experiment, we have a lot of quantum physics has grown and expanded, and we've got these incredible metaphysical researchers who are bringing it together. So, to give it fair point, it is quicker nowadays. But if you are waiting for your mind, for your logic, for your justification to others to catch up, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. Because the women that create success in this world, and the people that create success in this world, are those that know a deep, sacred knowing, a deep, sacred knowing with your yes and your no, and moving on that as quickly as possible. And this has moved me through some really big life transitions with my clients. And I've even thought at times maybe I should call myself a transitions coach, but it just felt too limiting for the stuff that I actually do, the coaching, the healing, the quantum magic. Like it felt too limiting, and I don't even really like using any type of label for myself because it just felt too limiting. But this is what is happening, is that I have moved myself through some really big transitions in my life, from leaving my corporate career of 15 years with no logic, with no backing, with no support, and taking the leap. Leaving what I thought was my dream home. It was my forever home. It was my country cottage. Leaving that because it was divinely guided, because it was not right for me. And leaving my marriage, which was not in alignment. It was not in alignment. And I had to trust in the feelings in my body over the logic, over what everyone else was telling me, because on paper it was a great marriage. But my body was telling me a very different story. And time and time and time again, even to the point of where I moved here, I got that intuitive nudge. I got that sacred yes and sacred no in my body. And I had to follow it. I had to follow it. Because there was no alternative. I wasn't going to go back. I wasn't going to go back into a space where I don't grow. Okay. Our natural state is expansion. We just forget that. We know that as children, right? We know that as children. We dream, we believe, we play, we believe in unicorns, we believe in magic, right? We know as children naturally that this magic is possible. It's a deep knowing and gift that we are born with. We get conditioned out of it by life, society, all back to the mind, all back to the logic. But we are becoming, as we evolve, as humanity evolves, we are becoming light beings again. So as the planet increases in consciousness, as we increase in consciousness with it, we're starting to become higher frequency and to operate more in energy. So this is why those sacred yes and sacred no decisions are now becoming more urgent than ever. Okay. And the other thing I want to say to you is that you probably have, I'm pretty confident if you're here watching or listening to this, you have two sides to you. You have a side that is incredibly sensitive soul, gentle, soft, quiet. And you have this other side that is fast, quick, powerful, fiery. It is a powerful leadership that you hold within you. And throughout your life, you have probably found that you've pushed one of these sides down, or maybe even both. Don't be so sensitive. The things we hear as children, don't be so sensitive. It's all about the logic. It's all about the mind. It's all about making decisions from the mind. Unless you've had like super conscious parenting, okay? We either push down that sensitive side, we make it a problem, we make it seem like we're broken. And this is where we end up in those fixing those healing loops all the time, healing the trauma all the time. We must be broken. There must be something wrong with us. We don't fit in with society, like we're the alien, we're the black sheep, we have to do all this healing. No one else in my family is doing all this healing, right? And we start to create this identity of constantly needing to heal because there's something wrong with us. But there was never anything wrong with us. And then this fiery, powerful side that we push down because, little girls should be seen and not heard, and women shouldn't be angry, and angry isn't acceptable. It's acceptable for men to be angry. It's not acceptable for women to be angry. And what do we make that mean? What do we make that mean? When we express our anger, when we express that sacred rage, what do we make that mean? And this is where we lose that ability to create boundaries. This is where we end up in people pleasing. This is where we end up out of our power and out of our authority. And then because so many things in society program that back in and say, you need this thing outside of yourself. You need this person to heal you. You need this thing, like you need this external thing. This cycle continues and we push that part down. Okay. And what I see happen most commonly is that the fiery, powerful part gets pushed down. The sensitive part sort of believes that it's broken in some way and isn't worthy and is, the black sheep, the alien, whatever that is. And what happens is as we start to awaken, as we start to heal our trauma and move stuff through our bodies, as we go through these ascension processes, as we go through these awakenings and growth, what happens is this fiery, powerful part that was pushed down is going to start to come up to the surface, and it's not come up. It's not been used for a very long period of time. I think I probably pushed mine down when I was 4, right? So when it comes up, it's going to be like, because it's like, I know I need to be here, but I don't know how to operate in this world. And this is where, if we're not careful, that guilt and shame can come in. Because it's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. Where did that come from? Is that just my hormones? Is that autistic burnout? Like, what is that thing? And that is just a fiery, powerful part of you that was pushed down so long ago, right? And it will eventually come up to protect the other part. It's effectively like the inner parent and the inner child, right? It is like the fire, the power comes in to protect that sensitive soul, which is a great thing, but it's just that both parts need to be in communication and to be balanced. So if you have had these moments of rage, outbursts, anger, like saying things that you don't mean, even though there might be an intention behind it, and you could have done it in a more, like, silent power has a huge theme coming through right now as well, right? If there's a way you could have done it in a more powerful, treading lightly, more gentle way, but you didn't, and there's guilt and shame around that, I want you to know there's nothing wrong with that. We can take radical responsibility. We can apologize. We can all the things. And that part is just finding its feet in the world. But that is the part, that is the power that is going to drive you forward. That is the part. And again, we see that part suppressed when we're not taking action on what we know as a sacred yes in our bodies, when we're not taking action quick enough. And this is what I saw in myself. I knew that where I lived last time in my previous home, I knew after moving there about 6 months in, I was like, oh no, I should not have made this decision based on logic. When I made that decision in 2022 to buy that house, I mean, I'm so grateful for that experience because it taught me so much. But I can remember going, oh no, this is out of alignment. How am I going to get out of this? Right. And it took 3.5 years of firstly persuading my partner that it was out of alignment. And then she started to see it. She started to have her own awareness and go, oh my gosh, like we're not supposed to be here. She's even released a song called Not Where I'm Supposed to Be, which is about the whole thing. I can put that in comments. And we had this awareness. And then it was like, okay, well now we need to, because we were planning to do the house up over time, over years. And then it's like, we need to go. We need to go. So then it was like quickly doing the house up and getting it ready to sell and all the things in that move process that if you're in the UK, oh my gosh, like let me know. I've been through that. Like it's completely, I say it's out of your hands, but it's also not out of your hands. Like I was praying all the way through it and getting really like amazing divine support. So it is, but it isn't, if that makes sense. Like we do have to wait for the 3D, but equally, like at times I found that process frustrating and I was like, oh my gosh, it feels like we're at a standstill. It says this is a low quality stream, but there's nothing I can do about it. I'm on my webcam, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. I'm just too high quality, darling, for this platform. Um, yeah, like things move slower in the 3D, but I've also had people say, wow, with all the issues that you faced, with all the arguments with solicitors, you still managed to navigate that process really quickly. And it felt quick, but it also felt slow. Does that make sense? So it felt quick, but it felt slow. So again, like this mirrors those parts of you. The fast part that's like fiery, powerful, it is your leadership energies, like your leadership codes that are coming through you for you to lead humanity. And this powerful, beautiful, gentle, soft, quiet part of you that needs peace, that needs nourishment, that actually needs this powerful part to say, I am claiming a life of peace. Like, this is where I was at when I left my marriage. I was like, I know this is bigger than me and I have to claim that life. Despite me, I had nowhere to go. I had no family I could stay with. I had to take that leap and I left. I left 3 carloads, the cat in tow, on an icy day, slip sliding on the pavements with all my boxes because nobody helped me move out, with no support, with no knowing. I knew in every core of my being that I had to go. And I knew that that was for that soft, peaceful, gentle, sensitive soul in me. It's actually quite emotional. That soft, gentle, sensitive soul in me. I had to let that fiery, powerful part take the lead and say, I am getting you out here. And no matter what, we're going to make it happen. And we did make it happen. And we found incredible places. Like, I am so grateful. Like, the first place I went to was a goat farm. And I am so, so grateful for the farmer who let me stay and rent his holiday home because he couldn't rent it out because it was COVID. And he let me stay there. I had another friend, you know who you are, you might be watching this, who let me stay in her holiday home, which again, she couldn't rent out. And then the clifftop caravan after that opened up for me. So what the big wisdom in all of this is that you're not going to logically know. You're going to feel a feeling in your body and you're going to know that you need to move on that. And it takes bravery and courage to do that, to move on that. And you're doing that for that inner child, for that soft, sensitive soul. That is what you are leading for, and all of humanity. Because when you do that, when you show that leadership, when you show that bravery and courage, like when I said, I know that I desire to be in a space where I can hold my clients even more deeply. And I know this isn't it. When I was able to tap into that bravery and courage to say, My work is deep. My work is transformational, and it is not something I can do anywhere. Same with my retreats. There is one retreat venue that I will use, and I visited many, and the energy was not right. And if I did not have that retreat venue that I've got, I would not run retreats. I would miss out on the money. I'd miss out on the opportunity, and people would miss out because I am not willing to put you in a misaligned environment. And this was part of my move. It was, I need to hold deeper space to my clients. I require and desire somewhere peaceful and quiet. Well, I look out the window and I have 3 oak trees just there. I require and desire that peace for the depth that I want to hold you at in your expansion. It was bigger than me, so that leadership part had to come forward. Yes, with all of these life transitions, big or small things, right? There have been difficulties, there's been tears, there's been anger, there's been laughter. But I have known all the way through, this is bigger than me. I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for all, because true transformation happens for others as well as me when I listen to my body. And anything that is not aligned has to go at that point of the white feather. So it doesn't become the brick. So it doesn't become the dump truck. This is where the magic happens. And we see this, and I'm sure many of you have seen this with the solstice, right? If we don't let something go, like a major astrological, that's the word, event will happen, and the universe will literally force us into alignment. And this is where we see things like chronic health conditions happening, where the body is just going, I'm stopping. If you're not listening, I am stopping until you effing listen. This is where chronic health conditions come from, okay? It's the body stepping in. It is the universe stepping in, God stepping in and going, I'm going to put you on your bum so you can really listen and realize that this is out of alignment and that you need to move, okay? So I'm going to end this there. If this is calling you, and what I want to say as well is that your journey is authentic to you. Your journey is not like anyone else's. It is completely authentic to you. So if you want to work with me specifically on your specific, like, what is your highest timeline look like? Where are you heading? What is that yes and no in your body? And how do we get deeper in touch with that, deeper in flow with that for the smaller things, for the bigger transitions, so that we can move you through that with ease, into love, into abundance, into what is meant for you, into that peaceful, aligned life that is meant for you? Pop me a comment, pop me a message, because I've got something coming which is going to give you that space with me to be able to channel together, to blend that science and spiritual together, to go, where are the train tracks, and actually fully put you on that train track with no blocks in the way, so that you can lead, you can create, you can do what you divinely came here to do. So pop me a message if this is resonating with you today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and sending you so much love. See you week.